Facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Words can be like X-rays. If you use them properly, they'll go through anything you read and you're pierced. After silence, that which comes nearest to expressing the inexpressible is music. But I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you mad. Maybe this world is another planet's hell. Actual happiness always looks pretty squalid in comparison with the overcompensations for misery, and of course, stability isn't nearly so spectacular as instability. If one's different, one's bound to be lonely. The more powerful and original a mind, the more it will incline towards the religion of solitude. I want to know what passion is. I want to feel something strongly. I wanted to change the world, but I have found that the only thing one can be sure of changing is oneself. An intellectual is a person who has discovered something more interesting than sex. One believes things because one has been conditioned to believe them. It's dark because you are trying too hard. Lightly, child, lightly. Learn to do everything lightly. Yes, feel lightly even though you're feeling deeply. There are things known and there are things unknown, and in between are the doors of perception. That men do not learn very much from the lessons of history is the most important of all the lessons that history has to teach. I am I, and I wish I weren't. The secret of genius is to carry the spirit of the child into old age, which means never losing your enthusiasm. Chronic remorse, as all the moralists are agreed, is a most undesirable sentiment. If you have behaved badly, repent, make what amends you can, and address yourself to the task of behaving better next time. On no account brood over your wrongdoing. Most human beings have an almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. I like being myself and nasty. Experience is not what happens to a man, it is what a man does with what happens to him. Most men and women will grow up to love their servitude and will never dream of revolution. All right then, said the savage defiantly, I'm claiming the right to be unhappy. Not to mention the right to grow old and ugly and impotent, the right to have syphilis and cancer, the right to have too little to eat, the right to be lousy, the right to live in constant apprehension of what may happen tomorrow, the right to catch typhoid. I claim them all, said the savage at last. Every man's memory is his private literature. Happiness is not achieved by the conscious pursuit of happiness. It is generally the byproduct of other activities. There is only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that's your own self. Consistency is contrary to nature, contrary to life. The only completely consistent people are the dead. No social stability without individual stability. All that happens means something. Nothing you do is ever insignificant. I'd rather be myself, he said. Myself and nasty, not somebody else, however jolly. I ate civilization, it poisoned me, I was defiled, and then, he added, in a lower tone, I ate my own wickedness. To travel is to discover that everyone is wrong about other countries. Man is so intelligent that he feels impelled to invent theories to account for what happens in the world. Unfortunately, he is not quite intelligent enough, in most cases, to find correct explanations, so that when he acts on his theories, he behaves very often like a lunatic. That all men are equal is a proposition which at ordinary times no sane individual has ever given his assent. A really efficient totalitarian state would be one in which the all-powerful executive of political bosses and their army of managers control a population of slaves who do not have to be coerced because they love their servitude. Ironically enough, the only people who can hold up indefinitely under the stress of modern war are psychotics. Individual insanity is immune to the consequences of collective insanity. Reality, however utopian, is something from which people feel the need of taking pretty frequent holidays. Chastity, the most unnatural of all the sexual perversions, he added parenthetically, out of Remy de Gourmont. The savage interrupted him, but isn't it natural to feel there's a God? You might as well ask if it's natural to do up one's trousers with zippers, said the controller sarcastically. You remind me of another of those old fellows called Bradley. He defined philosophy as the finding of bad reason for what one believes by instinct, as if one believed anything by instinct. One believes things because one has been conditioned to believe them. Finding bad reasons for what one believes. For other bad reasons, that's philosophy. People believe in God because they've been conditioned to. The propagandist's purpose is to make one set of people forget that certain other sets of people are human. Every man with a little leisure and enough money for railway tickets, every man, indeed, who knows how to read, has it in his power to magnify himself, to multiply the ways in which he exists, to make his life full, significant, and interesting. What you need, the savage went on, is something with tears for a change. Nothing costs enough here. One of the principal functions of a friend is to suffer in a milder and symbolic form the punishments that we should like, but are unable to inflict upon our enemies. Great is truth, but still greater from a practical point of view is silence about truth. There was a thing called heaven, but all the same they used to drink enormous quantities of alcohol. There was a thing called the soul and a thing called immortality. But they used to take morphia and cocaine. 2,000 pharmacologists and biochemists were subsidized in AF 178. 6 years later it was being produced commercially, the perfect drug. Euphoric, narcotic, pleasantly hallucinant. All the advantages of Christianity and alcohol, none of their defects. Take a holiday from reality whenever you like and come back without so much as a headache or a mythology. Armaments, universal debt, and planned obsolescence, those are the three pillars of Western prosperity. If war, waste, and moneylenders were abolished, you'd collapse. And while you people are over-consuming, the rest of the world sinks more and more deeply into chronic disaster. Experience teaches only the teachable. A love of nature keeps no factories busy. Technological progress has merely provided us with more efficient means for going backwards. For in spite of language, in spite of intelligence and intuition and sympathy, one can never really communicate anything to anybody. In spite of language, in spite of intelligence, and intuition and sympathy, one can never really communicate anything to anybody. The essential substance of every thought and feeling remains incommunicable, locked up in the impenetrable strong room of the individual soul and body. It is a bit embarrassing to have been concerned with the human problem all one's life and find at the end that one has no more to offer by way of advice than try to be a little kinder. To his dog, every man is Napoleon, hence the constant popularity of dogs. I'm afraid of losing my obscurity. Genuineness only thrives in the dark, like celery. But I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin. In fact, said Mustafa Mond, you're claiming the right to be unhappy. All right then, said the savage defiantly, I'm claiming the right to be unhappy. Ending is better than mending. It is natural to believe in God when you're alone, quite alone, in the night, thinking about death. It isn't a matter of forgetting. What one has to learn is how to remember, and yet be free of the past. There was a thing called heaven, but all the same they used to drink enormous quantities of alcohol. I want God. I want poetry. I want danger. I want freedom. I want sin. It's a little embarrassing that after 45 years of research and study, the best advice I can give people is to be a little kinder to each other. We are not our own any more than what we possess is our own. We did not make ourselves. We cannot be supreme over ourselves. We are not our own masters. We cannot reason ourselves out of our basic irrationality. All we can do is learn the art of being irrational in a reasonable way. We are all geniuses up to the age of 10. Liberties aren't given, they are taken. All gods are homemade, and it is we who pull their strings, and so give them the power to pull ours. A man can smile and be a villain. The leech's kiss, the squid's embrace, the prurient ape's defiling touch. And do you like the human race? No, not much. Did you eat something that didn't agree with you? Asked Bernard. The savage nodded. I ate civilization. It is only when we have renounced our preoccupation with I, me, mine, that we can truly possess the world in which we live, everything provided that we regard nothing as property. And not only is everything ours, it is also everybody else's. And that, put in the director sententiously, that is the secret of happiness and virtue. When what you've got to do, all conditioning, aims at that, making people like their unescapable social destiny. The vast majority of human beings dislike, and even actually dread all notions with which they are not familiar. Hence it comes about that at their first appearance innovators have generally been persecuted and always derided as fools and madmen. The trouble with fiction, said John Rivers, is that it makes too much sense. Reality never makes sense. Did you ever feel as though you had something inside you that was only waiting for you to give it a chance to come out? Some sort of extra power that you aren't using, you know, all the water that goes down the falls instead of through the turbines? Don't try to behave as though you were essentially sane and naturally good. We're all demented sinners in the same cosmic boat, and the boat is perpetually sinking.